The community pantry in Gallup was developed in 1999 by a couple of volunteers, and they started off in a 2-car garage, and they grew out of that 2-car garage within 2 weeks. All they handed out was produce at that time. And through the years, it has developed through grant writing and partnerships into this magnificent building, which we get to service over 3,500 families twice a month now.
Dahate, Shay Zachariah Ben Inishia. My name is Zachariah Ben. I am the owner and co-founder of Bidii Baby Foods.
And my name is Mary Ben. I am the co-founder of Bidii Baby Foods and director of the Ben Initiative.
So Bidii Baby Foods came to be back in 2021 was our fruition of being able to understand healthy traditional foods, how we can get that to our children. And it was all inspired by our firstborn because of their needs. And being able to now create a company around that and providing these first foods to not only just our children, but also our community's children.
The Regional Farm to Food Bank program is the latest iteration of the NM Grown program in the state. Through partnerships with the New Mexico Farmers Marketing Association, which is a huge part of this program, the New Mexico Department of Agriculture, and the Governor's Food Initiative, they've made it possible for food banks to actually purchase culturally appropriate foods that make sense for the communities where they're distributed.
So a lot of the first foods that we have, one of them is nishtiji. That's what we specialize in producing here and turning that into a cereal. And that's the base for all of our baby food products that we create here. And I feel like historically, being able to have that methodology behind creating these first foods in terms of like our indigenous cultures here in the Americas, something that has been severed, something that is slowly being forgotten. And so for us to be able to reintroduce those diets back to our community is being able to prevent health ailments related to the modern day foods. And so this is the reason why we're on this track of using this nishtiji, using this nayizit, the squash, and using the nada, the corn, to be able to introduce that to a modern diet where our children can now heal with these foods out of that connection with Western society. So now, as we slowly are moving out of the Americana and getting back with our culture again, now we can bring back this rich culture and this rich history of what it means to have first foods on your table. Nice. Oh, yeah.
So the process to make nishtiji is it's a pretty much a 24-hour cycle. So we start in the morning by either cleaning out or prepping the pit. We'll start a fire and keep that going hot all day. While the fire is going, we'll go into the field and we'll collect all the corn by hand. Doing everything by hand, planting, harvesting, that's really important to our process too. We don't industrialize our process whatsoever. So we're picking buckets by hand. We fill up about 1 to 2 truckloads each time. And by the evening time, when the pit is super, super hot and the fire's died down to coals, then we'll dump in the corn along with some water and then seal the pit with mud and wood, only natural elements. We'll let that cook and steam overnight for 12 hours. So whatever time we put it in is the time we take it out in the morning, usually around sunrise. Then we jump in the pit. It's usually just as hot as any oven that you'd be baking in. You pull everything out, again, by hand, throw it in the back of the truck, and bring it back to our drying racks where we'll peel it and dehydrate it in the sun for about 3 or 4 days.
So back in 2021, there was a lot of doors that were closed to us, and one of those doors opened up, and that was to becoming an approved supplier through the state of New Mexico. And through that opportunity that was provided by New Mexico Farmers Market Association through the New Mexico Grown Program, it allowed us to become certified. Certification that we needed that was not in place because, as a small producer here on the Navajo Nation, there was a lot of logistical issues, a lot of red tape, bureaucracy that we had to navigate, and allowing us to open those doors. Now we have the opportunity to reach our target demographic, feed our elders, feed our children across the state through institutions like the food banks and elder care facilities across the state. So it's been an amazing venture, and with the support of the state, it has allowed us to invest into our communities and get healthy traditional foods onto the tables of people that crucially need it, people that are yearning for it.
The food produced in Shipwreck, comes down to Gallup to be processed, and then the community pantry is able to distribute it kind of back into the community where it came from, which is kind of like that full circle of culturally appropriate product being produced, on tribal land through the emergency food network in the state back into the community.
So we're here today at the Gallup Food Pantry along with Keisha and Kira, who are also approved suppliers, a part of the New Mexico Grown Program. Infrastructure that is in place like this helps us to get that certification in place and, most importantly, feed our target demographics that we want to serve. And this is non-existent on the reservation, unfortunately, and those are some of the areas that we're able to navigate around to rely on state infrastructure to then implement that certification, get that in place, and most importantly, distribute our products with that type of infrastructure.
Sharon, who is one of our consumers of our product through Bidii Baby Food, has a 9-month-old baby. And she said, you don't know how comforting it is to know that we have special foods developed for our children here. She goes, it warms a mother's heart to know that she doesn't have to necessarily purchase processed foods. She goes, we're able to get the food right here through the community pantry in Gallup, and I know that it's a good food that's going to take care of my baby.